Okay, I'm gonna give it a minute here, and then I'll go. It's funny how and so I was watching Mark Passy, was people know I do, since the guy is got a lot of characteristics, or there's a lot about Mark Passy that's like myself. I see a man who cares. I see a man loaded with passion who actually really cares about all of us, that wants what's right. Okay. And you see the name I gave the live stream. Okay, so I had known about some of this, but there's so much I didn't realize that I did not know about. And so I wanted to talk about this today because I went and I watched Earthlings. That's right, it's a documentary. It's got a lot of people that have watched it, and I don't know if anybody that's in here would recognize it. I would suggest you watch it. It makes me sick, it pisses me off, it disgusts me how evil we have actually become on this planet. I agree with Mark Passie's statements about what's going on when it comes to the animals of our society, from the slaughterhouses to how we treat animals, cruelty, straight across the board onto animals. And when you really think about it, I'll tell you what, and when you really truly think about it and you watch this documentary, if you got any care in you at all, and I'm not kidding, this is going out to everybody, okay? If you have any care in you at all, a heart or anything, you need to watch this documentary if you haven't seen it, and it's going to piss you right on off. And it is how evil our world has become. It literally is. And I hate to be that way, but it's in your face. No wonder we can have wars and people are wanting up somebody else, and we're treating each other like complete dirt and running over and walking all over the top of other people, all for our own selfish gain. Nobody wants done onto them what they're willing to do onto somebody else. No wonder our society is so messed up. How we can treat animals the way we do in this world is just absolutely disgusting. How many of you realize or have even seen Earthlings? You know, I've seen some clips before of an elephant in a circus who went bonkers and trampled and wounded, if not killed, a couple of the people who was in their circus with these elephants, and how this elephant charged out of there, and how the police shot and killed this elephant for its behavior. But then if you watch Earthlings and you see these are wild animals, that they have captured these wild animals, confined them to cages, and to get these elephants to do what they do in the circus comes through total cruelty and abuse, inflicting pain on these elephants, hurting them, making the pain to the extreme where the elephant does what they wanted to do to stop them from hurting the elephant. So this is the same thing as slavery, but onto the animals. So, and when I looked at what I mean, it's just by the time I got to the end of Earthlings, I was very, very upset and pissed off. I mean, it struck me hard because I care about everybody on this planet and I actually care about animals. And yes, animals do feel pain. Yes, they do suffer. And when I see how evil we are, when I watch this and realize the extent of how far we've gone with abusing animals, it infuriates me. It fires me right up. I'd like to take some of these people that are doing this and just drop them, put them in the ground. They're no use to this planet whatsoever. And I'm not even religious, but Mark Passio brought something up that is a very valid point. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that we have domain over the animal. That's right. And nowhere in the Bible does it say that we should be eating animals. And unfortunately, I do know this from my research, cancer. Okay, cancer itself, the globalists, the people at the top know where cancer comes from. They know the cure for cancer. I know the cure for cancer. But we got to keep donating money to a fraudulent institution who knows the cure for cancer, but they ain't going to allow you to have the cure for cancer because we got to keep you sick. So you keep going back and giving them your money. And when it helps with population reduction, we are a society of very, very, very sick people. When you watch Earthlings, if you have any care in your heart at all for the animals of our planet, you're going to discover how demented and sick and evil we are. And the sad thing is you say, well, it's just an animal. Then are human beings animals? Is that why we treat each other the way we do? Is that why we would lock you in a cage for not listening to one of our rules that we made up when we called it a law? Is that why we would create double standards and we would think that, well, I'm above the law because I got a badge and I'm a cop, or I'm above the law because I'm a president, or I'm a congressman, or I'm a senator, and I'll do whatever I want? Because it don't apply to me, it just applies to you cattle, human beings. So I agree with Mark Passy. Yep, one big farm. And, farm after farm after farm. So the world's made up of farms. And the animals on the farms are not just cows and pigs and chickens and roosters and sheep and goats and what have you. Human beings. We're all animals. That's right. You've lowered yourself to that level. So I suppose I have to agree with Mark Passio again of some real aliens showed up from outer space and got trapped here. And they decided that we, the humans, make great food. And they could herd us and farm us like we do animals. And they could come on down here, make a slaughterhouse, and they could farm us and take us in there. And maybe they'll use a bolt gun with a big old steel bolt in it, and they'll put it up to your head and go, boom. Maybe they'll just shoot you in the side of the rib cage and put you in a lot of pain. And then we could put a hook on you and we could drag you and we could dip you down into some boiling water. We could do like we do to these, and sometimes we might even just kick you around and beat you up and hit you with this and hit you with that and watch you suffer while we wish all this pain on you before we kill you. Us aliens will do that because we're a higher intelligence, because we're from another planet. We're ETs, we're extraterrestrials. Then we'll just dice you up and cut you into meat, man, and we'll pack you up and ship you to the supermarket. You're going to say, oh, I'm not eating another human. That's cannibalism. Well, the reality is when you watch Earthlings, you realize the stuff Mark Passio said, and it becomes a reality. And you know what? Because I care about everybody, I have a cat, and I love the hell out of my cat. I grew up with a beagle, a dog, full-blooded beagle. Okay? My cousin had a German Shepherd. I've been around animals my whole life. I love the hell out of my cat, and my cat loves the hell out of me. My cat thinks it's a people because I have spoiled my cat rotten, so it really believes it's a people. But it loves the hell out of me, and I love the hell out of that cat. Okay? That's an animal. Then we got these people believe in scientists, and you watch and see what they're doing for experiments on these animals. You watch the cruelty. You watch I mean, it's awful. It's just absolutely awful. It's disgusting. It just fired me right up by the time I got to the end of this documentary. I was just really freaking, because I'd already known about some of this stuff to begin with. I didn't realize it went as deep as it did until I watched this documentary. Then I was like, wow. Then I think about our behaviors onto each other. And I think of how willing we are to shit on somebody else. How people get so pissed off at me for wanting them to do onto somebody else as they would want done unto themselves. For wanting them to back up and examine themselves and to start practicing trying to do right onto each other. Which, of course, would improve our world, make it better for all of us. But nobody wants that because everybody's selfish, 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 selfish. They're deluded. They're all after their own little fame or their own little piece and don't give a shit if they walk on your face, if they put their feet, just don't care. There's just no care left, I'm telling you. It's like empathy. How do you want to say that? Empathy for somebody else. Having compassion for other people. I haven't watched TV in years. So this person who says I don't watch TV, congratulations, neither do I. But you're on YouTube. So all you got to do is type in the first word I typed on YouTube in the search engine, and you will on YouTube search. Use the YouTube search bar and type Earthlings in, and it's a documentary. You'll find it. Watch it. And wake your ass up. Because what we're doing to these animals, if you think about it, in reality, we've been doing to each other for as far back as I can go in time. Hollywood promotes it. Your video games promote it. The violence, the suffrage, making other people suffer, the violence. I mean, even our sports promote it. Come on. We beat the shit out of each other in the ring for entertainment. Okay, so really, well, right now the word rise above, unless you're seriously going to start backing up and examining your own behaviors and practicing recognizing right from wrong and practicing doing unto others that you'd want done unto yourself, then you would be working on rising above. And if you're going to start paying attention to our behaviors, what's going on to the world, and want to do right unto others, then you would be practicing rise above. If you're going to do what when in doubt suggested, that's not rising above. I would say to when in doubt, you need to practice what you preach because you're preaching the words, but you don't practice it. Okay, so there's no point of preaching something if you're not going to practice it, right? Why are you going to go around and say you're this strong person and blah, blah, blah and tell everybody else to rise above? Well, you're not even willing to do it yourself. Because rising above is a good word, it's good philosophy. But for us to rise above, we want to educate ourselves. We want to do what's right unto others. And we say, well, no, that's weak. No, that's not weak. It's our behaviors that lead us to where we're at. You're not rising above by thinking you're above another human being. You're not rising above by going to war and killing people that you don't even know that's never done nothing to you because a bunch of psychopathic criminals gave you your orders and you're that perfect order follower. See, rising above starts with care. It starts with being willing to back up and examine oneself and recognize right from wrong and be able to work on your own self so that you can treat others the way you'd want to be treated yourself. When you can do that, you are now working on rising above. And I totally agree with rising above. But it can't be in the context of what Doughton has said, because he's not rising above. He's not practicing what he preaches. He's only using the words. Unfortunately, our society, there's so many people that doesn't want to practice right. They don't want to do what's right onto somebody else. They think it's all right to be somebody else's boss. They think it's all right to be above somebody else. They think we're supposed to have a chain of command with a bunch of people above a bunch of people and another bunch of people above another bunch of people. It's just like in the standard relationship when you hear him or her say, I wear the pants in the house. It's no different. It doesn't matter if it's a him or a her. You just called your partner a slave, whether you realize it or not. It's the wrong mentality to say that I'm the leader of the house. I'm the blah, blah, blah. Okay, you're the leader of your house if you live by yourself or if it's just you and your children. Then you have to be the role model for your children. But if it's your girlfriend or it's your boyfriend, you females, okay, you ain't the leader of the house. You're both the leaders of the house. You're not above her. She's not above you. There's nobody above nobody here. See, this is why I know I piss people off when I say this stuff, because everybody wants to think that somebody needs to be above somebody. But you know what's pathetic about it is everybody wants to be above somebody else and be the first one to tell somebody else what to do. But nobody wants to be told what to do. And that's not even a gender issue. I haven't met a man or a woman, either alike, either gender, in my entire life that wants somebody else to be telling them what they can and can't do. But I meet men and women alike all over the place that want to be telling other people what to do, but don't want to be told what to do themselves. And the hypocrisy of it all is they're not willing to back up and back check their own selves. They want to think because they're a man that makes them the dominant one and she's the submissive one, and this means I get to tell them what to do. No, it doesn't. And even when I did my little sex thing on dominant, switch, and submissive, that is only in a relationship between a couple who want to live that life and agree to these terms willingly and knowingly between each other. It's a private thing. But in the reality of the world, nobody belongs being anybody's boss. Outside of their fantasies of because we all could be one or the other, right? But you have to be willing and wanting that. And then that has borderlines too, because even out of them, even the submissive don't want to be told what to do outside of maybe a sexual fantasy BS pro in the bedroom. They don't really want to be told what to do in their life. And we've had a worse, we got a society that's had slavery, and it ain't just been the black people that's been enslaved. If you want to get technical, slavery's going on for hundreds of years. And if you really want to be right down technical, we live in a society filled full of slaves right now. And that slavery doesn't recognize your color, your skin, or your race, or anything. Because you have an elite group of people at the top that look down on every last one of us, regardless of what race you are, regardless of what skin color you are. We are all slaves, or we're useless cattle. And they really feel this way about us. So the reality is what it is. And the only reason we're in the condition we're in globally is because we've sat back and allowed it. Because too many people are scared to challenge authority. Hell, even without a challenge in authority, so many people are cowards as it is, especially here in America. I'm not speaking up against her because I'll be a woman hater. I'm not talking about that. That's a conspiracy theory. I don't want to be labeled or ostracized. I don't want to be called a nut job. I don't want to put on the tinfoil wearing hat. Yeah. They're just so afraid they won't fit in. That's where all this comes from, the mentality. And that's nothing but people who are cowards. Because, see, it's just like people who want to take the truth and spin it. Want to put a spin on that truth there. Now that truth is no longer the truth. Now it's a lie. Because the truth is the truth, and you can't reword the truth and have it still be the truth. And unfortunately, I've got a heart that cares, and I always have. And I only want what's right for all of us. And I always have. I want the genders brought back together again. I don't think having sex bots and dolls is the answer. Okay? Seriously. I want to see the genders treating each other like human beings. I want to see the men in the manosphere grow up. Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's evil. See, the way we treat animals, when you really think about it, when you watch Earthlings, it's going to make you sick. If you have any care in your heart at all, you need to watch that. It's going to bother you if you can make it from the beginning to the end, but it's going to be a really good wake-up call for you. Then you want to take and examine what you've seen there and compare it to human beings and how we treat each other. Wow, don't we see the commonality there? There's a lot in common there. What do we do over in that damn prison overseas? I'm trying to think of the name again. Okay? We had them prisoners over there and we were torturing them. That's right. We claimed it's because we needed to get information out of them. So we inflicted pain onto them and tortured them over and over and over. sometimes killing them. Isn't that the same thing you see in Earthlings, us doing to animals? Yeah, but this time you're doing it to a human being. See the crossover between Earthlings with the animal kingdom, or how we treat animals and how we treat each other, has been becoming pretty much one and the same. It really is. The crossover is right there. It's in your face. We are treating human beings a lot like we treat these animals. These animals didn't ask us to go out in the wilderness and capture them, shoot them with a tranquilizer gun and throw them in a cage and bring them back and throw them in a zoo. Shoot them with a tranquilizer gun and bring them back and torture the living hell out of them because we want to use them in a circus. Will you pay attention to how these animals, like the elephants, are treated and how they train the elephants for the circus? You know, we've all gone to circuses. They're not so much no more. But have you ever been to a circus? If you've been to a circus, you watch them bring when they come out with the elephants, and the elephants using their trunks and holding on to the other one's tails and walking in circles and blah, blah, blah. That training was done through complete cruelty. The same way we did over in that prison when we tortured the prisoners. They trained these elephants through torture, through inflicting pain on these elephants over and over again. Same thing with the lions and the tigers. They inflicted pain on them over and over and over again to get them to do what they wanted them to do. This is what goes on behind the scenes. So when that elephant flipped out and started stomping and mauling the guys in the circus that were his so-called trainers, do I blame him? No. I don't blame this elephant at all. The sad thing is we went to the wilderness and we shot this elephant with a tranquilizer gun, and we hauled this sucker out of his natural environment, put him in our environment, tortured the living hell out of him. Basically, we enslaved him and tortured him, and enslaved him and tortured him and tortured him and tortured him to a point where he lost his mind, and now he hurt the people who was doing it to him. And then we pulled guns out, the police did, and shot and killed the elephant. You know, and it is very, very, very sick and evil. It just fires me right up because I care about people like I care about animals, and I care about all of us in general. And I only want what's right for all of us. And I would never, ever, ever do that kind of stuff to animals. Animals, in a lot of ways nowadays, if I was to compare animals to people, animals are a whole lot smarter than the people on this planet. They don't conspire to take over the world. They don't get together and go to another country and attack another country to steal its resources. That's right. They don't step on down and look down on another animal as I'm better than you and I'm above you and treat another animal like dirt. And I can look at the characteristic of animals and I can look at the characteristics of people, and I can see where animals are a whole lot smarter than people. And it shouldn't be that way. We have the ability to do right. As a human being, we have that ability. But so many people have no care in their hearts at all. no care. And it frustrates me because I care. This is why I did my video earlier this morning where I showed you Mark Passio and said that I have a lot in common with Mark Passio because I actually really do in real life. I'm not saying I'm Mark Passio and I'm not saying I have his knowledge. I have my knowledge from my research and I'm getting more and more knowledge all the time. I have a big heart and I actually recognize what's right from wrong. I actually care about all of us and only want all of us doing unto each other as we should be doing unto each other. I want to see corruption go away. My drive and my compassion has always been to end corruption and to bring the genders back together to get people to, this is why I've told people over the years mankind's epic failure was their ability to grow the hell up. And when I look at cancer and I look at the diseases that we have killing us, and I look at Big Pharma, and I look at what Mark Passio even talked about in his last show, eating fruits and vegetables. You know, the cure for cancer is just to eat the right fruits and vegetables and put the right minerals and vitamins back in your body, as your immune system will become strong and the cancer will go away because your immune system will automatically take the cancer out. You will not die from cancer if you have a strong immune system. But we do not have strong immune systems. And this is where Mark Passio was 100% correct. Because I've known this for a while now. I'm telling you, for quite some time now, I've known this. The sad thing is, by the time I found this out, I was already this many years into eating the wrong diets. Like so many of us, been lied to our whole lives, eating animals and things that actually ain't good for us, okay? And how do you change that? You can't just go, I'd agree with Mark totally because you're not going to be able to just go cold turkey. But we need to definitely eat more vegetables and fruits. But the problem is it can't be Monsanto's, it can't be GMO. It needs to be naturally grown from the real seed and not a genetically modified seed by Monsanto's. Okay, and they know this. This is the reason Monsanto's was doing what they were doing, was to keep us sick. It's not so much about being a health nut as it is about what's right. Because we got cancer killing people and we got liars deceiving the public and not telling you the real cure for cancer and using fraudulent means to steal your money while they watch you die and don't care. We have heart disease that is created by the things that we eat. And all of this could be turned around if you ate the right diet. The medical industry was never taught about the right diet. They were taught the propaganda. So that people would become sick. So that they could line their pockets off sick people. Yes, that is correct. That's exactly correct. They do trade our birth certificates on the stock market. When I said that we were all cattle, it's no lie. You was given a birth certificate that was put in the stock market because you're property. Remember the mayor not long ago of New York City made a statement to the citizens of New York City saying that he owns their bodies and that he will put whatever shots or vaccinations in the people of New York City's bodies he damn well wants because he owns them. He owns their bodies. And the people of New York didn't even have an outcry and go take the fast and evil, sick, twisted screwball out of office. So when you want to talk about your birth certificate on the stock market, you are right on spot. That is factual truth. They even have a bank account. If you look up your numbers on your birth certificate and you take your social security number, one is the routing number to the bank, and one is the account number to the money they're making off of you since you was born. Oh, and by the way, you're not entitled to that money because your owner owns that money. That's right. You didn't know you had an owner, did you? Because these 6 psychopaths at the top consider us all cattle. We're all owned. And they did it right under your nose without you even knowing they'd done it. And they're collecting money on your labor and your profits for society off of your sweat and work. That's right. Because they own you. At least they believe they own you. I think since they want to own all of our shit, I think maybe you should get yourself a box of Ziploc baggies and go ahead after a stool movement, scoop up your crap, put it in the baggie, put it in a little box, and mail it to them. If they want to own all of your shit, then send it to them, damn it. Maybe we can save on our sewage bill. I think maybe the mayor of New York, that all the good citizens of New York should go take a dump in a baggie and mail their stool movements to him. He says he owns them. You want to own them? Well, that's part of owning them. Now, of course, I don't think he would appreciate it, but hey. See, the problem is we've allowed this to happen. We don't come together because we're too busy fighting each other like they want us to. That's one of the reasons I had such a war against division. Because out of my years of being up here, I have fought division over and over and over again. I have tried to get people to work together, stand together, see what's going on, and rise up together. But to no avail. People's minds are too far gone. They're not understanding what's really happening. They won't look into it. They'll call you conspiracy theorist. I can remember down at the Holiday Inn Express up there in Iowa, where I lost my job for doing what I'm doing here right now, speaking the truth. I can remember before I lost that job, I was out in the Pooh area, and I'd been working on something out there. I don't remember exactly what now. But they had this company that come in and did some service for them, and this one guy who owned the company, he was sitting there talking to his buddy, and he was pointing at me, and he didn't realize his voice carries. And he was telling his buddy, that's that conspiracy theorist. This guy wears a tinfoil hat. He's a nut job. Okay? And I was smirking under my breath, really? So how's it going, sheep? Dumbass. That hasn't looked into a damn thing. That believes what their television set told them. Hook, line, and sinker. So sad. It really is. It's so sad. But this is the mentality of our world. If I had my, I remember years ago, I pissed people off on my radio show. I told them if I had my way, I would go door to door and smash everybody's television sets. They had 3, 4, 5 television sets. They'd all be, I'd smash them all. I'd go into all the stores and smash all the television sets. And I had a guy come into my show who was irate over that. He told me, "You're not getting near my TV set. I got a gun and I'll use it. You ain't touching my TV." And I just like, there you go. There you go. So, it's one of them things. But, I watched Earthlings. I listened to Mark Passio's live stream from Sunday. I was busy and had company, so I couldn't watch it live at the time it was on. So I had to catch the replay, but that's all right. I watched the replay, and I do. If I don't know something or I ain't got a lot of knowledge on something or I know a little bit about an area and Mark Passio says do this or do that, I take a tendency of going and looking into what Mark Passio's saying. And so far, every time it's just like myself, man. You know, and I see it in Mark Passio because he reminds me of myself in so many ways. He really does. And his anger is justified because it's from his care. And I couldn't get people to understand that. They think, oh, you're mad. You're blah, 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 blah. You know, even Jerry did that first time he watched the TFL dating scene topic video. He came on Skype, or not Skype, Zoom, and he texted me attacking me. And he told me I was a very angry man and that I was angry at women at this time in my life. And I wasn't angry at women. And the funny thing is, I asked him about Burr, and I went back and looked at the video he was talking about. And it was actually a video where I spoke up about the wrongs of men and the wrongs of women. And it was hilarious because I was talking to Kevin, and he had watched the exact same video that Jerry was pissed off at. Okay. He says that was a very fairly, evenly done video. You talked about the wrongs of men and women both. You didn't discriminate against either gender. And I said, that's correct. But according to Jerry, I was a woman hater at that time in my life. His words to me was, I am a woman hater at this time in my life. And he don't know what's wrong with me, but I definitely got some mental issues going on. And there you go. There you go. He didn't want to hear anything negative said against a female because she was automatically on a God statute. She's allowed to be wrong, and you better not say anything against her wrongs. Regular fucking vagina. I don't know what to tell you. That's not a man. Nothing against Jerry, but when he tells me I have mental issues and that I am a woman hater because I told the truth, you know, there's nothing I can say against somebody like that other than you have issues. I'm not the one with the issue. You are. You're the one not opening your eyes and looking. I don't hate women. I don't hate men. I care about us all. I hate corruption. I told him this, but that didn't mean nothing to him because it was still the same answer. You're not allowed to call the woman out on her corruption because that makes you a woman hater. And it means you have mental issues. No, that makes him a pussy. That makes him a simp and a vagina. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. But see, he attacked me that way. I never attacked him ever. You know me, I speak my mind, I say what I feel, and I call out both genders, and I call out corruption. And I don't matter what your gender is, man. I'll come after you if you're corrupt, and I'll call you out. Has nothing to do with gender. Never has had. It all has to do with division. But back to the Earthlings. I think people, if you have not seen this, you should type in Earthlings in the YouTube search bar, and you should take an hour and a half out of your busy ass schedule, and you should watch it. It's going to take a little bit of, I mean, if you got a heart at all, it's going to bother you. You know, because the truth of the matter is when you look at what they're doing in this documentary and what we're doing to animals in this world, then you pay attention to our wars and our prisons and the enslavement industry that we've done with each other, enslaving other human beings, and how we treat each other. Man, I'll tell you what, the paradigm's crossed right on over. I'm with Mark Passio on abolishing governments. I think that we need to rise up and shut down all forms of governments globally. We need to take monetary systems globally and put it in the hands of the people and take it away from the private entities. This is what we need to do. I think if we could accomplish them two things, we could turn this situation around in this world and people could start having care again. So, as far as women go, I don't know what to tell you. I want to bring the genders back together again, but it comes down to this. We have to learn how to treat one another, and it's not a gender issue. You have to stop placing women above your own self. And I've watched and watched and seen how many guys, including governments, including laws and courts, place the woman over the top of the man. And of course, that's going to corrupt her behavior. You know that as well as I do if you got any brains in your head. I don't fall for a lot of the BS. The only thing I can tell you is we got to back up on an individual basis, and that means men and women and all. And I think it's going to be harder for women to do because they get all the perks. They got all the benefits, and as a man, you got no benefits. As a man, the only benefit you get is to bend over and take it in the ass, excuse my language. Okay, that's the only benefit men get. Other than that, you don't get any benefits at all. They're going to be stepped on, walked on, dumped on, thrown under a bus, thrown in front of a train. And this happens to you by both genders. Women will dump all over you, and the men that are right behind that woman, they're busy kissing her behind, will be throwing you under the bus as well. So, it's sad. And then when it comes to our behaviors, when I really look at it, it is our behaviors that's the corruption, the corrupt of the problem. Because the women's behavior are very toxic, and then men's behaviors of using them and placing the women above their own selves. Why do you think so many women grow up with entitlement issues and believe they're actually owed? And that you, as a man, you have a penis This means you owe her living. You owe her. No, you don't owe her shit. And you need to respect her. Oh, but that's right. She don't got to respect you. Bullshit. Excuse my language. But that's what that is. She damn well has to respect you if she wants respect in return. But she don't think so because she's been placed on a pedestal. Now, of course, it's not 100% across the board. Nothing I'm talking about is 100% across the board. It's like with the Earthlings, the severity of how we abuse an animals, but it's not every single person who's that way. But it's enough people doing it and enough people not standing up to them to stop them that it's become a crisis. I can understand what you're saying, but it makes you want to stay alone and just jump on the third rail. I can respectfully understand that. Okay, tried Stacy said goodbye. She can stay goodbye, or he could say goodbye, whether it's a he or a she. Okay, I know I've crossed into some topics here that are probably pissing her off if she's a female, but it's not about pissing her off. It's about telling the truth. Because you do have men that are abusing women. There's no doubt about it. Okay, it is not as much of a gender issue as it is the fact that it's our behaviors. And I'm not going to blame a woman who's been placed on a pedestal her whole life because she didn't ask to be put there. It's men that put her there. The corruption she represents is from that. But she also has the ability to back her own self up, self check herself, recognize right from wrong, and correct her behavior the same as men do. So that's why I said it's never been a gender issue. It's in a whole, it's a society issue. I think I got somebody at my door. But anyhow, I wanted to jump up here for a while and talk about the Earthlings. I would like people to watch that, and I would like you to examine what's going to make you sick. Okay, to watch if you have any care, it will. And I want you to cross over and I want you to think about how we treat each other. I really do. Because I think we need to examine how we treat each other. Because that's going to make a difference. Okay, but anyhow, that's about what I had to say. So I do believe I had somebody at my door, but I didn't answer them. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. You all have a good one.